Hello there, guys. So, it's me, Martin308. If you are here for this video, clicking on this, you would like to know all of 303's lore. For those of you who have listened to his music and would like to know the lore, you have come to the right place. So, here we go. I am not scripting this. Let me make it clear, you do not need to know the lore to enjoy the songs. However, if you would like to know it, this is here. Another thing I should note is that I don't necessarily know everything yet. Like, some of it I know as much as you guys. But I'm going to try and go over it pretty briefly. Well, it won't be brief, but I'm going to go over everything I do know and try to make it as comprehensible as possible. So, some of it is up to my interpretation. It's my interpretation of things. We'll see, so without further ado, let's dive in. Sorry, I'm waiting for the music. Hold on. Give it a sec. This one has a weird pause after it's done. Yeah, sorry, this is not scripted. Okay, there it is. So, the first thing we have in the lore to cover is the first major story, which is Tyranny. Now, Tyranny, I do not know the whole story of yet, however, it comes before glitch lore, it comes before torture, it comes before a lot of major lore events, basically. It is probably like towards the beginning of the major events in the lore. That's the thing that I should mention. So, we do not know too much yet, however we know that this guy is named Flame, this guy is named Quake, as the Fist Lord, and this guy is dead. So here's everything we know on those guys. Now, Quake has a brother named Dagger who appears in the later parts of the Everyday songs, like Double Flash, for example. That's him. Also, the main character is this guy named Chivo, I believe. He appears in Double Flash, but he appears in the songs too. Chivo is another important character. Also, as we know from, I don't know how you say the word, but the Day 25 song, his sister is dead, and the red eyes, which, just a fun fact I think I should mention now, the red eyes are actually representative of the audience. Just thought I'd throw that out there now. The red eyes are actually the audience. So, yeah, that's something I feel you guys have to know. So, yeah, basically, what we have seen at the beginning here, which is that Chivo was fighting with Quake and Dagger in this, I guess, castle-like area, city. There was this royal scientist guy too, whose name I don't remember. Unfortunately, Tyranny Part 1 was unshared, so I can't check it. However, I remember there's also someone named Stevie, or Steiny, however you say it. And he was the first person in the timeline who says, who cares what insert person here thinks? She's dead. The first person to say it in the entire lore, which is a phrase that appears multiple times throughout the lore that we will discuss, well, later. So, chronologically, that's the first time those words were said. So, one thing that also I do know is that there is stuff in Tyranny that has to do with the Lords. In fact, let's check the SK database's info on the Lords. We never really looked at the SK database, so this is going to be my first video talking about the stuff that is on the SK database. So, first up, we got the Fist Lord. So, the Fist Lord is known for his strong hatred against cryptic individuals. Possesses the ability to summon and control fists. He is brothers with the Face Lord, and is cousins with the Sword Lord. Fist Lord once was associated with the Tribulation, until one day he suddenly resigned. Some theorize that the faction ended up hurting someone he cared about, but there is no confirmed reason why. So as you can see here, this was when he left the faction. As we know from one of the songs, the reason why he left the Tribulation is because the Cryptic King who was a member of the Tribulation, killed this guy, who was a person he cared about a lot. Fifth Lord is, as of right now, the only Lord we know of who isn't evil. Because let's talk about the others. So next up, where is it? We got the Face Lord, his brother. The Face Lord is known for being mischievous and is infamous for playing with random victims when bored. He is able to summon faces which are seemingly sentient, as opposed to being a mere projectile. What am I saying? There are many disappearances attributed to the Face Lord, but few have been confirmed. The Face Lord's dimension consists of the many souls he has played with. See, Torment got scrapped. However, one thing, while I don't have a screenshot to note about Torment, is that we actually do get to go to the Face Lord's dimension, the Pot of Pain. I believe that's what it was called, the Pot of Pain. So you can actually go here, and in this Pot of Pain, there's the faces talking about things. There's also this entity called the Face Keeper. I don't know if that is too important to the lore, but I just thought I'd mention that. But as of right now, and again, I could be wrong on this, I will definitely make more lore videos in the future. This is only the first one I have made, and the first of many to come, to be quite frank. So the Face Lord is, as of right now, would appear to be the weakest of the 7 lords. Then again, we don't know. We know like nothing about the Dead Lord, who was in a recent song that Furious303 posted. We don't know anything about that because it is unfortunately not in this database. So next up, we got the Time Lord. Well known for her seemingly lethal encounters, the Time Lord is mostly dedicated to carrying out the Tribulation's decisions. So essentially, she is the decision maker of the Tribulation. I'm going to talk more about Omniscience later, but one thing to note is that... No, not the ads. I'm sorry. Please stand by. There is a Grammarly ad. I apologize for that. Yeah, so, hopefully that handles the ads for later, but this guy right here was cursed by Time Lord. And probably the Eye Lord too, but he was cursed. He's the only, like, aside from the dead hero, and I guess, I don't remember the name of him. He's the only major character in Tyranny we do not have the name of. Thought I would throw that out there. So we know she put a curse on him, and the High Lord probably did too. So she is a pretty major member of the Tribulation, as you can see. And also, just a fun fact, which to be fair, you can see in the other day, she was the first Lord to have the Lord motif, the Lord Lake motif. Just a tiny little bit there. So, yeah, there's the Eye Lord. But next up, we have the Star Lord. So, Star Lord is well known for their enormous size. Their projectiles are also notably explosive, capable of decimating cities at times. Despite these threatening characteristics, the Star Lord is the least aggressive out of the Tribulation. Which, the funny thing is, this is something I actually call it. Like, that's the funny thing about it. Like, I actually call it the Star Lord being like, less aggressive than the others, which, for reasons that I will talk about later, also pretty neat, like, how not all the, how, like, you got the brothers, you got the Time Lord, who's female, and you got the Star Lord, who's, non-binary, so we got every single identity, and, ignore my rambling, I'm just yapping right now. Anyways, so, this is the big one of the lords, and probably, like, going to be the one who is the most significant in the lore so far, the Eye Lord. So, the Eye Lord was the leader of the Tribulation, until he was taken during the Battle of Tyranny. Contrary to common belief, the Eye Lord was not born into divinity, but rather dedicated his life to studying the spectators. The spectators, the audience. Yep, the audience again. Just keep in mind. So, the eyes are the audience, remember that. So, the Eye Lord is known for his responsibility for many misfortunes as he feeds the audience with the confident look that ensued after. And this here is the Overseer. You see all the different events. We got Quake, we got Flame, we got Mr. Money, the Ancient Home, the Beast. I don't want the Beast to give me money anymore, but anyways, so yeah, this is the Eye Lord. He's very important. On these signs, he is the ruler of the lords, and as we see here, it mentions the battle of tyranny. He's the leader of the tribulation and all that. So this guy is pretty significant. Let's keep him in mind. He's pretty significant. And finally, this is the one we know pretty much like the least about, the Sword Lord, who is the youngest brother of the Fist and the Face Lord, or cousin, I don't know. 303, I guess. There were some weird things on the SK database, but it's whatever. The fact that this exists is honestly pretty cool. So, unlike the other two, the Sword Lord is not in any way associated with the tribulation, and instead resides in a land distant to theirs. He rules over his land with fierce leadership. Some would even go as far as to call it tyranny. As the name says, instead of protecting the people in need or messing with victims for entertainment like his brothers, the Sword Lord would much rather fight for power instead. So he's just kind of like, he's just a dictator, you know? He's like, he wants power. Like, what else is there to say? He just wants power. So, that is all the lords, so here's my interpretation based on what we know about the Battle of Tyranny, of what goes on. And one go over in this battle starts after. So what happens is, I believe, you face the lords throughout their travels, and then eventually the audience. Something happens with the audience, we don't know what yet, but I guess the audience demands something related to the apocalypse, including the Eye Lord, and when the group goes to the place where this is happening to stop the Eye Lord and the Overseer and the audience from the world, they raid the base. However, they ultimately end up giving up after, I guess, realizing that they probably are going to fail and stop the Eye Lord. However, beginning's light, or whatever the light is supposed to be, shines down from the heavens above, weakening the eyes and allowing them to go and face the Eye Lord one final time. Here we go, on this time. So, you know how the phone goes. But first, you can see here the Face Lord, who is noticeably his eyes are all missing, and so are the eyes on the faces. And there are red strings behind him, which could mean that he is being controlled. But obviously he's not a good guy, as we read in the SK database. It does seem possible that he's either being controlled or the Eye Lord is using him. That is stuff that seems very possible based on what we see here. We also see that Quake is the one who takes him on. And back to the Eye Lord, and then this is the next one. You see Flame here taking on the Star Lord. And you can really see how big the Star Lord is. I mean, look at how tiny. I mean, just look at this guy. Look how tiny he is compared to this behemoth. But this is another one that makes it seem very apparent to me that the Lord seems to be under the control of the Eye Lords here. I mean, look, there's strings around the Star Lord's arms here. And keep in mind, we know too that the Star Lord is the least aggressive out of the tribulation. So it's very likely that in the case of especially in the case of the Star Lord, that they are being controlled by the Eye Lord in the Battle of Tyranny. It seems very likely. I'm gonna move my mic over just to make sure you guys can. But yeah, that happens. More with the Eye Lord. You know how this goes. So they play the Eye Lord, and then this is the one I find really interesting. Aside from the fact that the first guy is fighting the Time Lord, that makes sense. You can see too that there are no strings around her, because remember, she is the main decision maker out of the tribulation. So what I think is she's a big part of it, and doing something that gives the Eye Lord so much power. The Eye Lord is obviously the most powerful of lords, but it seems she is doing something that influences the Eye Lord's power. So that is a interesting note. Coming from it. So they fight long and hard. And in the end, fail. Unable to stop Eye Lord's round. But they are one strong. Beginning's light shines once more. Help them one more time. And then one lord didn't want to be a part of their doom takeover anymore. This lord, well, finally showed up. And with him came those who were killed by the tribulation. Those two, whatever their names are, they showed up, and together they defeated the island in the Battle of Tyranny. So that is my personal interpretation of how that goes. Now, again, I could be wrong. I'm sure we're gonna I'm sure I'm not. It's gonna be a while though before we know for sure. Since I would guess, Furious3 is not going to make Tyranny until after he makes his Glitch. I mean, I could be wrong. He could release the first couple of versions, but it's gonna be a while before we skip it. So there's a lot of lore to cover with Tyranny. But a lot of that seems to likely be true. So I just thought I'd touch on that. And yeah. So that is about everything we know when it comes to Tyranny so far. So what's next? The thing that I think is worth noting with that is that, like, none of the songs that have played so far were actually made by Furious3. I don't think till like episode 4 did the songs start being made by Furious3, because we had two people who could make music, but they're not really like a part of our group anymore, if that makes sense. So Furious3 became obviously the music maker we all know. But if you enjoy these songs, and you want to hear more, and you want to see Glitch War, then I will link Furious3's Scratch account in the description of this video, so that you guys can check out Glitch War, you can check out everything you want. So, yeah. But yeah, let's continue the explanation. So, the guy you see on the screen right now, he is SK. Now, talked about the SK database, like, right before this, so why not take a look through it? So, the SK database is a service provided for SK researchers in order to document our various discoveries. Displaying our study without proper authentication for mission is strictly forbidden. I mean, I think since we're talking about, I think it's fine. Just nobody tell Stone that I am displaying their records. Nobody tell him, okay? As long as none of you tell Stone, we'll be fine. Okay. So, let's go over this. Entry A001. This is the very first entry. The lab has just been set up. We're all very excited to begin research. The entirety of Esco is very optimistic about this. We shall not let them down. Get our supplies delivered. First project will be sure to improve our potential. So that is the first entry. Here comes entry A002. Our very first project has come up with a design for a mascot of some sort. Symbol to represent SK, also acting as our protector. The Upsilonite needed was delivered just today. We also have machines ready for creation. Construction of the vessel shouldn't take too long. We'll all be ready again soon. Hopefully this all goes well. been a real annoyance to get the materials. Now, obviously, that mascot is the guy you see here. This is SK. And he's pretty important to the lore, honestly, so we'll be seeing quite a bit of him. But, anyways, we'll learn it. Entry A002. Vessel has been finished. We have inserted inside the chamber. We are slowly putting in the right energy for it, and so far, the vessel remains intact. The only concern is that the high amounts of energy put a lot of stress on the machinery. Nothing's broken yet, so I hope it can endure for a long time. Entry A004. Vessel has successfully been animated and is taken out of the chamber. Fortunately, there are no signs of aggression, as the plate observant displays high intelligence. Training and testing will begin soon. I am confident this project will be a success. Now, honestly, knowing what I know about SK, I'd say it was a success, but let's continue. So, entry A005. Testing has been a success. Subject flew through training. He displayed its abilities in a meeting the other day. It has surpassed expectations. In the meeting, we decided that a fitting name for the subject would be SK, as it represents what our plan can do. If we allow SK to run freely after a quick board, we'll begin another project motivated by the success of this one. The future is looking bright for SK. Yeah, it really was. And finally, entry A006. Just finished our meeting about our next project. We've come to the decision of what we will work on going forward. Click proposed we research the immense power of glitches. The whole team seems on board with it. We can even have separate labs to spread out our research further. I brought up the suggestion that research on our friends stuck beyond the canonical barrier. I heavily support this idea, as the properties of Bracanium already have my interest picked. Most of the team seem intrigued. Frog seemed hesitant. Sure do hope he's not afraid of him. In the meantime, we wait for the other labs to be constructed and the Bracanium supply to be delivered. Now that right there was a pretty lore heavy. That was pretty lore heavy right there. Like, a pretty big lore heavy. So basically, these were most likely written by Sid. This was most likely written by Sid. So, God is mentioned. Him is mentioned too. So, Torment got scrapped, but the bits of story of Torment's story that are still canon are gonna get revealed throughout this movie. When you guys put in comment, they won't say anything about any gift out of and also, another thing to note is that there are these two voices by the names, well, not really voices, but two entities by the names of Shade and Malevolent. And the him that is being referred to here is Malevolent. So, that is all stuff I thought I should mention. I will talk more about Shade and Malevolent later. For now, let's just go to the anomaly section. So if you happen to encounter an anomaly in the lab, contact 248-434-5508 immediately. Now guys, let me make this clear. Do not call this phone number. You are not going to get any lore from this. From what 303 said, he found a number online that rickrolls you when you call it. Like, don't call this number. You're not going to get any lore. Like, don't. It's literally just a random number. Just don't call it, okay, guys? I mean, if it turns out to be a scam number, I don't want to be the reason you guys get your phones hacked or something. So, don't call this number. Like I know 303 just grabbed a random one offline, but just guys, okay? Promise me you're not going to call this number. Okay? So, technology errors. If your technology malfunctions, These tools are provided to remedy these issues. To fix your error, please find your error message, and the error message is listed below. Injection errors, sound error. So, injection error 1. This is all just stuff. That's a sound effects. Injector, refresh the page, insert sound fonts, I think. This is a bit notable because there's a bit of lore here, as you can see. So let's just look through what's on here. First off, the instructions. One, this isn't actually anything. That was a puzzle. Dear Amy, 2 of our incredibly dangerous subjects have escaped. I understand Headshot is busy at the moment. If you aren't, I greatly appreciate your help. After all, you still owe me one. So Amesy is related to Headshot in some way. Maybe they're his wife or husband. I don't know, like, does anyone in the comments know? I don't really know anyone by the name of Amesy, so, like, I don't know. You know, I'm just gonna stop. Like, whatever. The point is, Amesy has some relation to Headshot in some way, okay? Just freaking. I need to stop talking at this point. And finally, we have the fine block. My Eclipse introduction. The fine block is powerful. Oh, compound. Another. The con is that it's unpredictable. Interactions it has are undefined blocks have interesting interactions with other blocks, power motion blocks, corrupt sound blocks, corrupt costume blocks, create corrupted clone. We will see how that ends up going. You're going to see undefined blocks more throughout, I think, the rest of Glitch World. I'm saying that right now. I think they are important to the rest of Glitch World. Also, I find it funny how, like, all of this... I know these songs. They're all from Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon, except that's just literal Boomtown, but I think that's funny. So, there was once an incident where a child was used with an effect block. I'd like to see if undefined blocks are more properties, but I am unsure on how to test them. I will refer to this experiment as SF. So input those characters when looking. This was all part of the. That's just my music project and the audio for the background. So yeah, pretty big info about undefined blocks. There's another thing too. Just give me a moment, bear with me. Let's see if I can find it. Just vibe to the music while I search for it. This song I really like. This is one of the best Scribble songs. Such a vibe. Okay, I found it. Just give me a moment, bear with me. Yeah, so here it is. The Lab A signage. This is, I think, has some important info to it. You can see a bunch of the names of people who stunned into Lab A. The obviously stone, lead SK. You can peek through that SK has a descendant. So, at least 2004. Definitely longer, which I think is important to know. Stone, Bob, a mechanic, Bolt, a mechanic, Dean, a scientist, William, a scientist, Henry, a mechanic, Wendy, a scientist, Ogrim, a security guard, Crod, a security guard. Crod being a security guard is actually kind of fun, but whatever. Anyways, Gary, also a scientist. Jamal, security guard. Chris, a mechanic. Susie, security guard. Ralph, scientist. Flip, scientist. Amesy, yes. Yes. Mechanic. Bolt, mechanic. Let's scientists and like then to repeat since we did that over the course of these days, let's hear it multiple times. So this is all interesting stuff. So yeah, now another thing to note is that this is not a Furious3 lore related thing, but a more of the overall lore thing, because me and Furious3 both been also lore. Basically, SK is friends with Martina. It is a very powerful name, like, I guess it could call powerful, really. Martina, SK was good friends with him. Furious3 is a major character in the entire lore. Furious3's sword was actually made by SK. So, fun fact. SK made the sword. Let's talk about Torture. So, this right here, this cloaked guy, this is Crod. So, Crod, as we saw, was a security guard in the SK labs. However, I suppose in an abandoned lab or something, maybe it was like after SK collapsed, but in some abandoned place. So, Crod was, I guess, trapped in it, and there's a lot of creepy entities in this place. Like, there was a lot of creepy ones. If you've seen the Torture videos, you know Torture, but a lot of creepy entities, and he was trapped inside of it, and he escaped for his life, really, and the hooded guy, the mysterious hooded guy, he helped Crod escape the place. Should I say whatever? So as you can see here, the Fist Lord and the hooded guy both saved Crod. Just a thing to note, they both saved Crod. So with their help, Crod escaped, and I believe Crod went on a lot of adventures, and probably like trained with the Fist Lord, because as you can see in Glitch War, Crod knows how to fight now. So, Crod has likely been on a lot of adventures since Torment, and grown stronger. So, that's about everything we know about Torture. There's also some interesting details hidden in Torture that give lore details that you can look at if you want, though just know that some of it, at least half of it, is probably, well, not half of it, but a lot of it might be, but some of it, like, might be scrap stuff, so, but there's some interesting stuff in there. Probably knew about Malevolent too, that much was obvious. So, we got these kids, and I guess to the same extent, Argula Town. So, we don't know this girl's name yet, but apparently she might have, like, had some fraud, might have known her. This kid right here, his name is Arrow. This kid's name is Kaj, and we don't know that kid's name yet, but whatever that kid looks like is 505 before. We'll get to that, but so yeah, these kids, they live in a town called Argula Town. As you can see here, looks like a pretty happy town. You got Beanie Boone, I believe his name was Banny Boone. Unita, Cactus, Sheltus, Drummer Kid, Magnet Man, Swamp, the most important character. Like, got all this. It's a pretty happy town. And these two are the kid whose name is the one kid named Kaj's parents. Now, these two, they were all working in this place, Argula Town, on something called Project Remix. However, something happened. Either Project Remix ended up going wrong, or SK attacked. But some kind of tragedy definitely happened. And it's likely that most of them ended up dying. However, we know that these two here, they ended up being kidnapped. They were taken in by SK and experimented on by the scientists. And they look, let's just say those two look very different today, and they aren't exactly as close as they are now. So, tragedy happened. These two definitely survived. Kaj survived, Arrow survived, whatever 5-5's name was also survived, like, they all survived, but you can see here. Yeah. So then here, this is where we get into one of the major individuals we talked about. Furious3. So, Furious3 himself. He is actually the son of one of the scientists in SK, Eclipse. So, Furious3 became friends with Captain, so you can already tell she's different, even before you, like, see her actual look. You can tell how much of a different person she is now than she is compared to than she was there. And there is Sheltis, so you can see that they've grown distant. As these three, they fought against these three. Sheltis, Adrenaline, and Demon. Adrenaline is pretty much Malevolent's son, just to come back. He was created by Malevolent, and he is a dark spirit, which are creatures that appear from him, and I believe have to do with that part of the lore, but I don't really know too much about them, but they are, like, literally spheres. Sphere creatures that became things, like, as you can see, Adrenaline. We've also got Demonite, who's everybody's favorite character, so you got these three. So, these kids, they fought against, so those three fought against them, and ended up defeating all three of them, and, like, they were, as Furious3 put it in episode 3, just kids fighting against evil. However, one day, Furious3 noticed his dad, afterwards, Furious3 noticed his dad, Eclipse, acting strange. And what happened? He caught him experimenting on 3 kids. Those kids being Kaj, Arrow, and whatever 5-5's name was before. So, as you can see here, one of Eclipse's eyes is red, and the other is pink. That is because Eclipse is under the control here of both Shade and Malevolent, and that's why he is experimenting on these kids. So, pretty messed up if you ask me. But Furious3, he takes down his father in a fight. However, by the time he defeated him, the kids were all gone. It's pretty funny, the sad static energy plays here, but kids were all gone. Furious3 left unsatisfied and came back only for a monster to be created. Also, just before we mention this part, I think it's pretty funny how 5-5 chronologically existed before 4-4. Anyway, speaking of 4-4, so at some point after, Furious3 and Clasher ended up returning to the lab because they were unsatisfied. They wanted to create a new ARC member, which I'm just going to talk about ARC real quick. At one point, SK, the clan, ended up falling into chaos, which ended up, like, being pretty much the end of the clan. However, the last piece of the clan still resides in SK City, which is an organization with the red symbol SK, the group. Like, the scientists, all of them, they're still a thing. So, that's the thing I'd mention. But, ARC was the subsequent clan that got created that some of them actually had kids who were a part of, like, Furious3, and they tried to create a new ARC member, only with the undefined block. However, it failed, and 404 was created. 404, who became, as Furious3 put it, the definition of destruction. He was unstoppable, messed with the universe, and all that. He was very powerful. And 2 individuals in particular he messed with were Rosen1, or M1 for short, and Forsaken. Now, the thing about M1 is that M1 is an elite ARC. He is the R in ARC. R is Adjagod, Rosen1, and Kilkin. So, he is important. However, 404 nearly killed his brother Forsaken. M1 was very traumatized, I guess would be the word, by this event. And he wanted to grow stronger. So he fought many powerful individuals, including Dark Martinet, a literal god, to get revenge on 404 and one day defeat him. Also, his son is he's also the son of probably the K in SK. Though I'd mention that. Another major person we should talk about here is Martinet 388. Now, Martinet 388, while not necessarily important to this part of the lore, he had many adventures in the years we do not talk about. In between Torture and Furious3's events was when he was born, sometime in between that. And right before Furious3's events is when he had his first adventure and defeated Dark Martinet. Now, I'm not going to talk about him here, as that is my side of the lore. We are here to talk about Furious3's side of the lore, but I may make an explanation on my side of it at some point too, because I may make my explanation, but I'm also going to be working on a game at some point that's going to be a 388 adventure, so maybe not, but yeah, that's not a plug-in for my game. I'm just saying I'm going to make a game about 388, so if you're interested in that, then yeah, but what you need to know is that 388 is friends with 303 and 1, a lot of the people really we have seen so far, 388 is friends with them, so that is something I thought was worth mentioning, that 388 is a very important individual to the overall lore, so, and there was also a whole thing with this guy named Darknet, who's a being that, there's so much about Darknet that I'm not even going to cover him at all in this video, but Darknet is a very insane individual, let's just say, so. While all this was happening, Furious was on Slasher, which was another world. Him and 10 created Timmy Town, I believe, and stuff. A lot of things happened on Slasher. However, one thing of note is that Shade was active on Slasher. And she tried to control one of the members of Slasher, Lusty, and manipulate him into doing her bidding. However, he actually manipulated her into getting what he wanted. And Furious' father is also a being that wasn't prevalent in Slasher, named Masked Soul. And Furious was, he thrived for chaos, pretty much. He really, really, really enjoyed chaos. However, eventually, after Slasher, and Shade also tried controlling XD too, and did similar things, but I don't entirely know all the details about that. Furious, he lived for chaos, craved it, until one day, he realized all the pain he was inflicting, all the lives lost because of that, and that he didn't really want chaos. What he wanted was freedom. He didn't hate peace, he hated the way it was enforced. That is pretty much all I have to say about Slasher. Because I honestly, Furious explained it before, but to be honest, it was so long ago, I don't remember too many details, so. Finally, you're at Glitch War Episode 1. Pretty good timing, but you're finally there, so. It's been a long time, and another thing is, after Darknet was defeated, at some point, M1 had his battle, his final clash with 404. And the two ended up deleting each other from the world and vanishing in the void and dying, pretty much. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, they defeated each other. So, here we are, present day. So 388 is in the Scratch HQ. That is going to get changed at some point, but for now, it's the Scratch HQ. 388 is in it with Avro and some others, because the HQ is going to get an extension. However, at the same time, Shade brought back. Shade is with Kaj, and I'm just saying, like, no matter how insane Kaj ends up being, I'm always going to feel bad for him, because he had to listen to this girl yap about hatred for, like, more than 14 years, so, like, I'm going to feel bad for him no matter what, but, she brought back Demo Knight, Sheltis, and Adrenaline to use as pawns to help them take over Scratch. And Demo Knight breaks in and fights against 388, and he creates a big explosion that distracts everyone and slips away. Taj, meanwhile, heads to Eclipse's ruined lab and finds him there, questions why he ruined his life, and then learns from Eclipse that there were two voices, a manly order, one of them present in the room, Shade, and another one, quite dark, Level. So, Shade demands Kaj to kill Eclipse. Kaj resists at first, but after more manipulation, he gets to kill Eclipse. And that is how episode 1 ends. 2. Kaj and Shade flee from the scene after murdering Eclipse before they start investigating. Gemini finally locates the core room, the place he was searching for, before Cactus and Flash King had to stop him from entering. Now Gemini, he just had to locate the core room, so he just leaves. Like, no need for a pointless fight if you've already done the job, you know what I'm saying? So Gemini makes a speech and then leaves. Meanwhile, M1 is trapped in the void, meets with the hooded guy about how he wants to help him take on Malevolent and all the other threats. Because after all, you only deal with the larger threats. What are you gonna do when the small ones build up? So M1 teams up with Flip. Furious talks with Lusty, looks different in this episode because he's in Minecraft design, about how they together talks about how the two of them, they've had conflicts in the past. If they don't work together, Shade could potentially end up wiping them all out if she builds up an army. So they agree to work together, and they flee from the Minecraft world to the... Well, it's not really going to be Minecraft anymore, but they flee from where they were. They leave where they were through a portal. So they go to Timmy Town, and XD follows them. They talk to Forsaken, who, since M1's death, is the leader of the protectors of Timmy Town, their hometown. Now, XD and his gang break in to cause some more chaos, but M1 comes in and helps out his brother and his friends take down XD and his gang, and says his iconic line, "And they have been non-existent, but who cares anyways?" That's his iconic line. Furious and Lusty catch up to Kaj. Shade says some things, but Master Soul stops Shade from controlling Furious. Kaj flees like a coward. Yeah, that's how episode 2 ends. So, I'm trying to summarize it quickly since we've already gone through most of the music. But anyway, so, episode 3. Hooded guy in the void finds 5 and grabs him, and then just jump scares the viewers for no reason at all. He just jump scares the viewers because why not, you know? So that is how episode 3 begins. Furious 3 battles his longtime rival, Adrenaline, and he gets his face pounded because Adrenaline has learned some new skills and he has this cool new armor. So Furious 3 loses the fight. However, Furious and Lusty save him, because Lusty shoots a giant fireball at him, which blasts him into the atmosphere. He lands by Demolition. They talk about the plans, and Sheltis, for some reason, is planning bombs around the HQ, even though that's not in their plans. And then, Avro, who is actually a bad guy, helps 5 escape from the fact that, he helps 5 escape after the guy grabbed him. Then, or is 5 they them? I'm not gonna tell you guys why, but let's just say 5 is one entity but multiple people. That's all I'm gonna say. So, Furious 3 does a long plot exposition dump about his past and his father and all that. He just does a plot exposition dump to Furious and Lusty and 4-4. After he's done talking some more about plans with Gemini and Sheltis, Gemini thinks they're just... When Adrenaline talks about how Kaj gave them orders, Gemini thinks they're just gonna have a pizza party. You know, it's totally not a takeover plan or anything. No, they're just gonna have a pizza party and everyone's gonna be real happy, clearly. That's why Sheltis is planting bombs around the HQ. But, yeah, Kaj makes his takeover speech and all that. And then, his army raids the HQ. End of episode 3. So episode 4 happens. So, Sheltis makes the same speech Demolition made. Cactus tells her to shut up. Yeah, really close sisters now. They're so close after what happened with Mesne, you know? So, Cactus tells her sister to shut up! And the war begins. Timmy Town's prison is blown up by XD because they made the mistake of not taking his stuff. And then, a lot of fighting happens. Then, Hodge slips into the core room. Shade asks him to do one last favor. And Hodge finally says what he's wanted to say for more than 14 years. Do you ever just shut up? And then he finally resists Shade. He fights back against her manipulation. He won't let her take Scratch for herself. Finally cuts her off. She says, I hate you, like she hates everyone, by the way, just in case you couldn't tell. Shade is hatred. She hates everyone. And then she rants to the hood guy about how she can't control people anymore, and people keep resisting. Maybe she could use someone, and all that. And then Kaj and Demone and all of them, they succeed. They take over Scratch HQ, and all 303 can do is run. After seeing the hooded guy. And at the end of the episode, M1 says, it won't be long until everything descends to decay. Everything descends. The Lich War has already begun. That is the end of episode 4. There's 2 more to cover. Then, we have episode 5, which, to be honest, was the weakest episode, but I'd say it was still good. So, starts off with a very, very brief bout of 308 and 303 versus Avro, because Avro just kind of throws 303 into a portal and teleports him like a mile away, all the way to, where was it? The Scratch. He teleports into the abandoned Archives. His arc at this point has died as well, because of an event that you guys will learn more about when we get to, in the 388 lore when that all gets released. So, Griffin gets into the abandoned Archives. He encounters the hooded guy. He looks for the innovator. There was no one there. Meanwhile, Malevolent finally comes into the picture. He talks to Lusty. He calls him a friend. Points out how Furious betrayed him, and he betrayed Furious. So how could he call Furious a friend? So, that is where we are at. So, Lusty doesn't trust him. Until he pulls out the Atlas. Lusty wants that Atlas, really. He wants an Atlas. They're very, very powerful stones. Lusty wants the Atlas. So he makes a deal with Malevolent to get it. Back at the Scratch HQ, Abdus and Sheldus have sibling arguments. Oh, and I just wanted to mention, too, that we see in this episode that there's a wanted poster for Cactus with the SK symbol, so it's likely that SK, so as Sheldus mentioned, as SK scientists are hunting for them. So, that is something that I felt would be worth mentioning. So 33 encounters Headshot, who is a mercenary, and Headshot, again, like Betrayal Limit, beats 33. Star here, she saves 33 from Headshot, and then, 33 points out how he keeps getting saved. Meanwhile, Yarknov, who is a master blackmailer, talks to Kaj about how he hates Shade, and tries blackmailing him into a job and manipulating him and all that, but Kaj just doesn't care. He got what he wanted. He got scratched. He doesn't really care about it. And he also mentions he's the victim. He was the victim in his past, which threatens to expose his past. Just a detail that I thought would be worth mentioning. Kaj mentioning he was the victim, so like we're gonna get to that in episode 7. That's what we're waiting for, and so we're gonna get a lot of Kaj lore. However, Shade mentions how Darko mentions how Shade never provided Error Infinite. Error Infinite is what Arrow became after the experiment. So that's worth noting. Shade never revived Error Infinite, which gets Kaj. Demone complains that there's no pizza. Kaj is a jerk who doesn't give Demone his pizza. Kaj, I'm still waiting for Kaj to give Demone that pizza, honestly. I'm still waiting for that one. And then it ends with Tier 3, staring at the night sky with a scar. Asking if she's ever been to space. She hasn't. Tier 3 has been to space, just a fun fact. He has been to space. Furious joins them when Tier 3 discusses raiding the Scratch HQ. That's the plan. Tier 3 Star and Furious are going to raid Scratch HQ and take it back. That is how episode 5 ends. Let's get to the big one. Episode 6. 388 is sleeping like usual in the grass. However, he has a strange dream, and he encounters Malevolent, who warns him about what he's up against. 388's not scared, obviously, because, I mean, this guy fought Dark in it. Well, He's done it. He's fought crazy things. Like, 308's not scared at this point. He's been through, like, pretty much everything. However, Malevolent shapeshifts into darkness, which terrifies 308. I mean, I too would be pretty traumatized if I saw someone shapeshift into Darknet, you know? But shapeshifts into Darknet, we know how that goes, and levitates 308 and points out so many things beyond the world. There's nothing 308. For this next part, this next part's a plot exposition dump that honestly, like, I'm just gonna pull up the original scene because it explains it, like, better than I ever could, so here we go. Pay close attention. Yeah, I could not have explained that better myself. It's like, that was the perfect explanation of what happens there, honestly. The Malevolent scenes in episode 6 are so good. I highly recommend watching it if you haven't already, because episode 6 is really, really good. It's by far the best episode. Malevolent scenes are amazing, so, yeah, I will link it in the description. But anyways, and this was the second version of the Pistol thing. You guys all probably heard the Master Pistol. If you haven't, go listen to it. The second one. What happens the rest of the episode? So, after the dream, 308 meets up with Prod. And Prod tells him not to trust Malevolent. I wouldn't trust Malevolent either. And tells him that he can lead him to where SK is. Well, the organization, because 308 didn't know they were SK. And he says he knows where they are. He can lead them to it. So, 308 accepts Prod's offer to lead him to SK. Meanwhile, Furious recalls his memories of what he did on Slasher, and regrets his past greatly. I mean, can you blame him? He did awful things. Like, he regrets it. And yeah, so Furious tells 303 and Star about what he's done. After he's done, 303 talks about how pretty much anyone can change except Darknet. 303, I don't know why you think Darknet can change, but he believes anyone can change. Now, Furious points out how there will be times where mercy isn't an option and fighting is necessary. 303 says he believes Tasha has good intentions. As Star points out, admin always think they're right. So, 308 and Prod head over to SK Cities, and they arrive. And when they arrive, after Claude does some exposition dump about the canonical barrier, They arrive in SK City together, and Crod talks to 388 and about the canonical barrier, how SK did experiments in an attempt to bypass said canonical barrier. And when they arrive in SK City, a guy by the name of Demon was sent to stop 388 and Crod from getting to SKS. However, Smaz, who 388, I'm not going to talk about that, but so Smaz comes and fights against Demon, and then while 388 and Crod run through the city trying to get to the entrance. Now, it's a pretty good fight scene too, you guys should see it. And I'm so excited to see the college fight. I'm so excited for that in episode 7. It's going to be amazing. But yeah, that is how things are going to go. So, yeah, they fight. However, Demon, and Devil Knight's there too. He holds up a water poster. He's so adorable. And then Demon holds up the undefined block and uses it to delete one of Smaz's attacks, and then fires a giant laser on Smaz. And then after he does that, 388 and Crod hurry to the lab. While Malevolent talks about wanting to get the undefined block. And Lusty takes down Demon. 388 and Crod talk with Stone. They question Stone's methods since they're far from ethical, and Stone points out how morality at the end of the day does not give you power, and there's no winning the war without power. 388 points out how they must get along in times like this, to ensure they win the war and save everything. And then, after talking about how the Malevolent resides beyond the barrier and is inevitably going to break free, Stone gives 388 the Breakanium to use it to blast Malevolent back where it came from to break the barrier. 388 teams up with Crod, Smaz, and Lusty to go take down Malevolent. However, what they don't know is that Lusty is working with Malevolent because he wants the Atlas, and not knowing that, they give Lusty the Breakanium. Big mistake. So that is where we are at now. 388 Crod, Smaz, and Lusty are getting ready to stop Malevolent, which is obviously going to inevitably fail. And while 303, Furious, and Star are headed to Scratch HQ to take down Gauntz. That is where the story is at as of right now. Malevolent wants to bring back the past as we know, and I'm sure there's a lot more to Malevolent. He's a very good villain so far, but yeah. That is everything so far. We are going to see Glitch War Episode 7 is hopefully going to be coming out very soon. As of the time, right before I started recording this, Episode 7 was at 68%. It's possible that by the time I'm uploading this, or the time you are watching this, that it is higher. So, Episode 7 is very, very close to releasing, guys. I'm telling you that right now, it's close. There's going to be a trailer, which is probably going to be the last video I post before Episode 7. When the trailer releases, I will watch that. And then after that, there's nothing. After that, here's the plan. So, when Episode 7 releases, I intend to live stream it onto YouTube, so that you all can see my live reaction to the episode. So, I will announce the time it will be at when Studio 3 announces the time Episode 7 will release at. So, just stay tuned for all that. I'm going to stream it though, so if you are interested in that, check it out. And remember, you can always listen to Furious 3's music, even if you don't know all the lore. You don't need to know the lore to enjoy the film. I mean, Omniscience is playing right now, and I'm sure a lot of you were very confused about what was going on in Omniscience, but I'm sure you enjoyed the song anyways. So, that is pretty much everything I have to explain for right now. So, I'm very, very, very excited for Episode 7. And, guys. So this is where I am going to be ending the video. So, see you soon. Bye!